Man, it feels so good to be here. Oh, man. I will tell you, if I had to do another Zoom tasting for people, I was... At any rate, I want to thank you very much for honoring our lovely 2018 UV Pinot. And I was, when we got the wonderful, anointed this wonderful position of number 2, I had the brilliant idea to make a video and do some still photography of our 2021 UV Pinot. It's a variety that, quite frankly, can make you neurotic. It doesn't like hot. It doesn't like cold. It likes it just right. One of the most important things that I do as a winemaker is to really determine when these grapes are at their perfect ripeness. And it's quite simple. And my wife knows exactly what I'm going to say. It tastes like candy. So, and I think I've said this many times to people that once I determine the sugar and the acids and all that stuff, that's fine. But when it starts to taste like, you know, Jolly Rancher candy or some sort of beautiful, chocolates or whatever, it's time to go. So on August 29th, after nearly 29 samples of this particular vineyard to determine its candied readiness, we went ahead and started the harvest. It's a beautiful hillside vineyard right on the edge of the Russian River, Sonoma Coast appellation. It used to be an old apple orchard, but a million years ago, it was an ancient inland sea, and the vineyards are actually on top of ancient seabeds, where you'll find all kinds of really wonderful sandy textures. And of course, the vineyards are all known for this wonderful soil type called Gold Ridge. What makes UV very special is it has a wonderful intermixing of marls and these lovely little river-worn pebbles. And deep down in the soil is a wonderful percentage of clay, which clay for us is the nirvana for Pinot Noir. So if you don't have clay in the soils, the Pinot Noir really can struggle and get kind of quite dry. So this is one of our favorite blocks at UV. This was planted in 2002 by my close friend who is now passed on, Ulysses Valdez Sr. This vineyard typically produces around 1 bottle per vine. It's as simple as that. It's about 12 clusters, and those 12 clusters will produce about 1 bottle. Now, interestingly enough, this clone that we use at this vineyard has incredible genetics back to Burgundy. It was given to a California winemaker in the 1960s from a great Grand Cru vineyard in the Vosne-Romanée. And we love it because it's a very small, tight cluster, very compact. It weighs about 95 grams. And it's just an incredibly perfumey, very low tannin selection of Pinot that we just adore. I use this selection in all of our vineyards now, and it's just incredible. And look at the beautiful blue tint to the skins. It's very fragile, yet incredibly robust. If you don't know, most of the California vintners, winemakers in general, pick all the grapes at night. And so here we are, marching into the vineyards at about 11 p.m. I will tell you, the men that work for us are the unsung heroes of every vintage. So here we are. You'll notice we are using scissors to remove the fruit, never knives. And so the idea here is to keep the clusters intact. We don't want any breaking of the berries. So here the fruit has arrived at 6 a.m. It's being carefully dumped into the machinery. One last inspection of the fruit before it goes into the destemmer and then the optical sorter here. We employ a machine that actually looks at every berry and it analyzes the color. It will actually reject anything that is not of the perfect color and the perfect size. And so with the shovel, this is me doing this, and what I'm looking for here is to make sure that the machinery is not breaking any berries. You notice there's no juice in the shovel. Everything is basically intact, and that is very important for Pinot Noir winemaking. We don't want any berries to break until we introduce them to the tanks. So just imagine bucket after bucket of, these are called rejects. And you can see the stems, you can see raisins. So this machine has actually, I'm not kidding you, looks at every berry. We love this machine. It actually replaced about 12 people who used to do this by hand. So imagine doing that by hand, picking out those raisins. A lot of vintners still do it, but I gave up. We call the machine that does this, we call him Barry. Imagine we just finished off the sorting, and now we're dumping the fruit into these. This is one of our stainless steel tanks. You notice it says UV C6. That's the Valdez Block C6. This is one of my favorite blocks. This is Grand Cru times 10. It's an amazing block. So every day we have to mix the tanks twice a day. And what I'm setting up to do is what's called a pump over. And then here's where the wine is leaving the tank into a little cart and then being pumped up to the top of the tank, which you'll see in a second is what we call the irrigating of the cap. And you'll notice the berries are all intact. The fermentation has started, and the wine is very opaque. It's full of yeast, and this technique here gives us a lot of oxygen into the vat. The yeast love it. They give us the wonderful byproduct of wine. All right, so if we fast forward 30 days, that's when the wine leaves the tanks and goes into the barrels. We use a mix of 3 very famous French oak barrels where it will stay in the barrels for about 10 months. We basically look at every lot every month. I try to take copious notes on the vintages and describe what's going on with each vintage. We are very academic. We like to look at everything under a microscope, so to speak, and once a month we conduct incredible tastings with the staff and looking at all the lots to see what the vintage really means. You know, it's a fun job. Someone's got to do it, right? 10 months later, this would be basically August of 2022 coming up, where we remove the wine from the barrels, put it up in tanks, blend it, and then bottle it about a week later. So the wine you're having today was double decanted 2 hours prior, which we really feel opens up the wine. I'm a big fan of double decanting, single decanting, to really open up the wines and get them to really speak the terroir. So in closing, I need to thank a bunch of people. Number one, I need to thank my wife. Teresa has been by my side for 28 years. And, being a small little wine company, we both lean on each other for inspiration. And I couldn't have done it without her. And not to forget the Wine Spectator. I mean, oh my God, you guys are amazing. I've been to a lot of wine tastings, and this tasting is by far, the best of the best of the best. I want to thank the Shankins. I know they're not here, but Marvin, I know you're watching. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present our wines. I'd like to make a toast to all of you who enjoy wine as much as we do, to the grape life, which is the greatest life. Cheers. Cheers.